right, here we are in Salesforce, and we're going to test out a bunch of cases using setup with Agentforce. We want to understand which things is it really good at and what can it really help us with in our day-to-day admin lives, and which things should we be a little bit more cautious with using. So we've got Agentforce set up in our sandbox. We are testing all of these features in a sandbox first before going for broken production. We highly recommend you do the same thing as well. If you don't see this screen when you log into your sandbox or production environment, it means you haven't enabled setup with Agentforce. We did a really great step-by-step video that shows you everything you need to put into place to be able to use this feature. I'll show you how to get Data Cloud, how to get Salesforce Foundations, and how to enable Agentforce, Einstein, and finally set up with Agentforce. So here we are, in our first use case that we're going to test out is, can it create a custom object, and how well does it create that custom object? What kinds of fields can it create based on a prompt that we give it? So I have found that setup with Agentforce works better if I tell it what I want it to do first. So I want to create a new custom object. Rather than just telling it what I want to do and giving it all of the details. I feel like this way is better because sometimes it gives you fields that it wants you to fill out, or it gives you guidance on the information that it's expecting. Okay, I have a prompt here, and this is how I sometimes take my requirements when I'm working with a customer. I oftentimes write create a new custom object with a date field. So I'm going to create a custom object called loyalty program member. This object will track customer enrollment, tier status, and points activity. I'm telling it to enable reporting and activities so that those checkboxes whenever you're creating a new custom object. And I'm asking it to set the record name to an auto number formatted like this. So you know how you can name the record using text or an auto number. So we'll see if that works. I'm asking it to add a lookup field to the account object labeled customer account. I'm also asking for a lookup field to the contact object labeled member. I want it to add a required date field called enrollment date. I want a pick list called membership tier that has the values of bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and I want it to default to bronze. So we'll see if that works. I'm going to add a number field that's called points balance, and I don't want it to have any decimal places, and I want it to default to 0. And then I have a couple of other number fields here as well with no decimal places. I've got a currency field here that I want it to have 2 decimal places, just a normal date field. And then I've got a formula here, so we'll see how that works. Add a formula called days until points expire that calculates points expiration date minus today's date. All right, we'll see if that works. And then we've got another pick list field, membership status. It's got the values active, suspended, canceled, expired, and I want it to default to active. I want it to add a checkbox field, and then I've got a long text area field called notes. So this is testing a lot of different things here. So let's check out how it's going to work. Okay, we can see here that Agentforce has created a custom object. We can click View Details, and it will take us to all of the information around the fields that it's going to create before it creates them. So you can see that it says new here. So all these fields are brand new and have not been created yet. We can see our pick list, our number. We have no idea if our number fields are going to be the right amount of decimal places because it doesn't show, but we can see that our formula field is not going to be created as a formula field. So we're going to need to play with that a little bit further. And let's make a couple of changes here. Let's ask it to change the notes field to a rich text area and limit the characters to 5,000. Okay, we can see here that our notes field did automatically update to a rich text area, which is great, but we have no idea if it's really going to be only 5,000 characters. It did add that information into the help text and the description. Now let's add a value to the membership status field called inactive. And then we should see inactive populate right here in this list of values. Okay, we can see that it did populate. All right, so let's go ahead and tell it we're good. We can create this new custom object in all the fields. Okay, so it says our new custom object is available. So let's go check it out. Okay, so first we'll look at our details here. So we can see that our label and our plural label look great. Our object name has a 1 because I tested this prior and this custom object was still in the deleted list. So Agentforce could still see it. So it actually made the object name unique by adding a 1 to it. Then we see that it did do an auto number, which is great, but it didn't use the display format that we asked it to. It did enable reports and activities. It also enabled allow in chatter groups, and it allowed in search and all these others, which we didn't tell it to do. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our fields and see how those look. So we can see that our number fields were created with 5 decimal places, which we did not ask for. We asked for 0 decimal places. We can see our notes field has 32,000 characters. We asked for it to have 5,000. So that is an issue, but the date fields look great. And the pick lists, let's check those out. So we wanted our membership status to have a default value of active, and that is there. That's awesome. We did ask it to make enrollment date required, which I hate doing from the field level, but you would expect it to be required here, but it's not. Now let's check to see if any of the field level security was added. We can see here that nope, field level security wasn't enabled for any profiles, so you'll still have to do manually after using this. And then our page layout, we can see that none of the fields were added to the page layout either, so you'll have to take care of that. We need to further explore formula fields and see how those are going to work, because our formula field that we wanted it to create days until points expire, that just created it as a number. But I can see this definitely being helpful when you have a brand new custom object and you want to create a whole bunch of fields. Created them pretty quickly and it gave you descriptions, but you are going to have to come back in here and do some additional configuration when you use the create new custom object action. Now you can try and ask it to add all of the fields to a page layout. So we'll say, can you add all of the fields on the loyalty program member object to the page layout? And it says it can't do that, can't add them for you, unfortunately. So it really can't edit existing fields that are already created. Let's try to give system administrator edit access to all the fields on our new object. You can see here I left the word member off. We'll see if it's going to automatically assume that I meant this object since we've been talking about it. So it seems there was an issue with retrieving field permissions for the loyalty program member object. The system encountered this issue. Now let's see if we can get it to change the record name from an auto number to a text field. Okay, so it's telling us that we're going to have to make those changes as well, but at least it's telling us the exact steps that we need to do it. Let's try enabling field history tracking. So if I wanted to enable field history tracking for all of these fields, see if it can help us with that. So it says that we'll have to manually do that as well. And then what if I wanted to create a new validation role? Okay, so here it's asking me for the object API name. So I better give it the exact API name over here. And then user input. So this says the name or the description of the validation role. So we're going to create a validation role in the loyalty program member object that requires both company and contact to be populated before the membership status can be set to active. Show this error to the user. Okay, so it says it can't find this object, so I haven't been able to get it to create a validation rule either. So now let's try to create a flow. We're going to create a new record triggered flow. And then what I want to do is change this to a text for the name. And then I'm going to ask it to create a record triggered flow that's going to set the name of the record. I want it to fire when a record is created or updated. It should update the name of the loyalty program member record equal to the contact name from the contact in the contact field plus the membership status. So let's see how this works out. So it's got the flow here. I can't see any details about the flow, so I have no idea if it's going to do what I want it to do. So I'll just go ahead and hit confirm. Okay, so it says it's created it successfully. So I can just click on this link and I can go to the flow. All right, here's the flow and let's check it out over here. So it looks like it's created an after save flow, which I don't agree with. This should be a before save flow because we are updating the same record that triggered the flow. Over here, it looks like we have an error. It says that the contact name field doesn't exist. So let's look at our custom object, and I completely missed the fact that the lookup to the account object and the lookup to the contact object, those two fields didn't get created at all. So I'm going to create the custom field for the contact object really fast here. Okay, now let's refresh this page. Okay, so now we have a different error. So we have an error stating that this is a pick list and we know that we need to wrap it in a text function in order for it to work. So let's go ahead and do that so we can get around that error. And then it says the membership status field doesn't exist. Well, that's because we don't have field level security updated. So let's take care of that. So let's save that. I'm going to refresh the browser again. Okay, so I've got my text function. Let's try again. It says it's valid. Now I should get another error here because this is a derived field and you can't use derived fields in formulas. So here's another issue with the formula that was created. So you can't use the name field because it's not a real field. You have to use first name plus last name. So I'll put that in here. Okay, this should work now. Then let's check out the update member name. So we know that this should be an assignment element because it should be a before save flow, but this is querying the record and then updating it. So we really don't need to do this. Agentforce should have selected this radial button right here to use the loyalty program member record that triggered the flow. So I don't agree with this either. I wouldn't set up my flow like this at all because it's not following all the best practices that we're supposed to do. I would set it up like this, make it fast flow updates here. I would delete this element and then I would do an assignment here. And then we'll save that. Now let's just make sure that this flow works. I'll do a debug here, and then I've got a record that I've created. We'll use this one, loyalty program test, and we'll run this. And then we can see here that I messed up the formula. I didn't change this to last. You guys probably saw that way before me. All right, now it's perfect. Now the record name is getting assigned. So based on what we saw here, I wouldn't recommend using Agentforce for your flows. There was a lot of things that happened in that formula, and then the approach here should have been to create a before save flow. Okay, now let's try out some other features here. Let's go ahead and go back to our home screen and let's try to clone a user. Now you can see that I didn't add it to this tab here. I went back to my home and started a new tab. Now, whenever I tell it to clone a user, it gives me all of these fields to fill out. So there's certain prompts that initiate setup with Agentforce to give you like a form to fill out. So I'm going to clone Laura Cage, and I'm going to create a new user called Lyra Silvertongue. And I'd love to know if anybody knows this reference. It was such a good show. And then cloning assignments allows you to clone the groups, queues, permission set groups, and licenses. So this is pretty powerful. I want it to clone all of those, so I'll go ahead and hit submit. It says, here's all the information to create Lyra's user record. We can click view details, and then it gives us even more information. We can see the public groups, the queues that it's gonna copy over, permission set licenses, all this great stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna hit confirm because I want it to go ahead and do that. Okay, so it says Lyra's new user record has been created. Now, I've seen this happen a couple of times. It's putting in the last name twice, we have it on video that I only put the name in once here. So there's something going on with Agentforce with the last name, because even in the confirming the details, we can see first name is Lyra, last name is Silvertongue. So there's an issue there. So if we go ahead and look at Laura's user record here, I want to point out something. So everything is cloned over to Lyra's user record except for the default account team. So if you're using default account teams and opportunity teams, those will not clone over, but everything else did really nicely. Also, if you have any fields that shouldn't be cloned over, like Federation ID, need to be concerned with that. Make sure that you're telling Agentforce not to populate the Federation ID when it is cloning a user. So let's go ahead and look at Lyra's user record. So we can see it is created in an inactive state, and then we know we need to fix the last name. But other than that, everything else came over really nicely. So this is definitely a win for me. Cloning users, especially in orgs that have very complex user provisioning, can be pretty time consuming if you don't have any part of it automated. So I really like this feature in Agentforce. I can see it being a huge time saver. Now you can also do things like remove and add permission sets. So you can say remove the MailChimp permission set from Lyra's user record. Let's see if it is able to find it, because I didn't give it the full name of the permission set. I just gave it the shortened version. It's actually called the MailChimp standard user. Yeah, so it says multiple permission sets were found. So you'd have to know which one was on her record, which I know it's the standard one. So it's not querying what's already on there. It's just giving you the list of the MailChimp permission sets that do exist. So we can remove it from here, which is nice. And then you can add permission sets to multiple users from this way as well. We can also activate Lyra's user from here or deactivate Lyra's user. So we can say confirm, yes, I want to activate Lyra's user. And then we can see the active checkbox goes to active. Working with users and adding permission sets is really awesome. Let's see if it can add a default account team member. Add Cheryl Fernandez to the default account team for Lyra with role equal to account manager. Let's see what it says here. Okay, so it's having a little bit of a problem doing anything with account teams. So it looks like that functionality isn't supported just yet. Now, every time you go to this home screen, it seems like these little menu options change a little bit. So let's work on creating a formula. So I'm going to click that prompt. And then it says, it seems I can't directly create a formula at the moment. Okay, so can't do that just yet, even though it had a prompt for it. I don't think I want to go down the formula route if it can't create it from scratch. Right, so those are all the use cases that I wanted to explore and share with you and show you how setup with Agentforce is working so that you can get an idea of how it can help you in your day-to-day life as an admin. Have fun trying this thing out. That's it. That's a wrap. Be sure to subscribe to Blue Tiger Academy so you don't miss our next video, where we'll show you how to set up an Agentforce agent to help your users be more productive. We'll build an agent that lets users merge duplicate contacts and test how well it works in real business scenarios. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you'd like to see a video on a different Salesforce topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.